Rain pattered down in thick, steady drops, soaking the muddy streets of Oshodi Lagos. Under a bruised sky, the night was thick with the kind of silence that made you hold your breath. The city, usually alive with sound and motion, had fallen into an unnatural hush. No honking cars, no vendors shouting, just the rhythmic drum of the rain and the faint, earthly scent of soaked asphalt and smoldering wood. Even the neon lights and storefronts seemed subdued. Somewhere in the distance, a stray dog let out a mournful howl. Its cry swallowed almost immediately by the eerie stillness. The air felt alive, heavy with something unspoken, something watching. Tolu took off the water from his hoodie, swearing under his breath. He really didn't want to be out this late, and he especially did not want to be here under the rain. But he needed money, and the delivery app had pinged him earlier with an order up from the more suburban parts of town. The distance meant better payout, enough to buy data and maybe something nice for dinner. Every naira counted for him these days. Tolu! A voice called. He turned, spotting the night watchman Musa huddling under an umbrella near his makeshift stool, squinting his eyes against the rain. Hey, Musa, now you there? Tolu called back, fringing chair as he approached. Ah, yes, so, Musa replied, lips twisting into a half smile. What did you then do for this place by this time? Nice don't call finish, oh. Tolu shrugged. Man must walk abeg. And this na the last delivery where they do this night before I walk her. Musa's smile faded and he cast a glance down the road. You know hear the Tori wey dey? Tori? Which Tori, Musa? Tolu grinned, half wishing he didn't ask. Bush baby don't show for this side oh. Musa's voice dropped to a hush, eyes darting around. People dey talk say them see am near that abandoned school where they go like this. Make sure say you no look am if you see am oh. No look am. Tolu felt his stomach sink. He was no stranger to the stories of the supernatural. His grandma used to tell him plenty. Still, he wouldn't let himself be rattled. He forced a laugh. I beg, Musa. I know be small pikin oh. But even small pikin dey get sense oh. Musa replied, voice like gravel. Bush baby no be joke oh. Bush baby no be joke. May no be like that, I no tell you. Tolu nodded dismissively with a small laugh and turned away. However, more than he would admit, Musa's words settled into a corner of his mind, refusing to leave. A chill joined the rain, cutting through his wet hoodie and slipping like cold fingers around his ribs. He told himself it was just the weather. Any tales of creatures lurking in the shadow was just that. Tales. He cut through the narrow alley, taking a shortcut towards the old school Musa warned him about. The air felt thick, damp and oddly still. The buildings on either side loomed higher, their shadows lengthened like claws, and fear prickled down his spine. The old school building he passed was dark, its windows gaping like eyes watching him. As Tolu passed the old building, he felt a prickle on his neck. He kept his eyes straight, swallowing his discomfort. A sound drifted from behind, a soft, muffled laugh, high and childlike. He told himself it was nothing. It had to be nothing. But his skin crawled and he tightened his grip on the handle of his bicycle, pedaling faster. And then the laugh came again, and this time it was closer. Tolu's heart skipped. He felt the blood drain from his face. The sound was like something from a bad dream, echoing off the walls and bouncing into his ears. A sickly sound that clung to him, gripping with menace he could not explain. And against his better judgment, he dared to glance over his shoulder. A small, twisted figure crouched in the shadow behind him, grinning up at him with eyes as wide as saucers, dark as tar, and yet gleam with a terrible hunger. The creature was dwarf-like and ugly, its skin pale and stretchy over its bones. It held a tacked sack in its hand, shaking it with a dreadful, playful rhythm. Tolu froze, his breathing shallow. This all felt unreal, like a scene from one of those movies he dared not watch. And just as he thought things couldn't possibly go worse for him on this dreadful night, a nail punctured his bicycle tire. His reasoning went numb. He didn't know what to do. Run, stay. His legs wouldn't listen. Rooted to the spot by fear so thick it wrapped around him like chains. And the creature, it tilted its head and grinned at his misery. Its grin growing wider and wider, showing rows of sharp needle-like teeth, as if savoring his fear. Come play with me, Tolu. Come play with me. It whispered, voice thin and airy. The bag in its hand swung back and forth, like a sick invitation. Without thinking, Tolu bolted. He didn't look back, but he could feel it. Somehow, impossibly, he could feel the creature gaining on him. The sound of its laughter echoed down the streets as he dashed through alleyways, heart pounding hard and fast. It felt like it could burst. He didn't stop, not even as he reached his apartment building. Hurling himself inside, he slammed the door behind him. For a moment, he stood there to catch his breath, feeling a flood of relief over him. He was safe here, he sighed in relief. But was he? Minutes later, the laugh came again. It slipped through the doors, so faint he almost convinced himself that he was imagining it. A chill settled over Tolu as he backed away from the door slowly. He looked at the window, his eyes scanning the darkness, half hoping, half dreading to see something move. The street was empty, silent, but there, right there, just outside the reach of the street light, he saw it. The creature's face tilted up at him, its eyes glowing in the dark, its grin stretched even wider. It was waiting. Tolu stumbled back from the window, breath shallow as he fought to steady himself, the creature's laugh lingering in his ears, twisting through his thoughts. How could it have followed him all the way here? And why him? He sat down, trying to calm his heartbeats, trying to convince himself this had to be an illusion. It had to be an hallucination. Just his mind playing tricks on him. But as the seconds passed, the silence around him grew heavier, thicker, pressing in on him. He could almost feel it, something watching him. That damned laugh echoing again, louder and louder. He realized it wasn't outside anymore. It was inside now. Tolu's eyes darted around the room, heart pounding as the sound seemed to circle him, something coming from every corner at once. He could hear footsteps, light and slow, padding down across the wooden floor. His stomach twisted. It was coming closer and closer. Desperate, he grabbed his phone, flicked on the flashlight and pointed it in the shadows. The beam swept over his small apartment. Nothing. He saw nothing. And then from the far corner, he caught a glimpse of something. A pale hand reaching out from the darkness, fingers long and stretchy, clutching that stupid tattered sack. The creature whispered, slipping forward, dragging its twisted body closer and closer, eyes gleaming in the flashlight's beam. Tolu crumpled backwards, dropping his phone. His back hit the wall as the creature crept closer, grinning, savoring his terror. Why? Why me, you weird little thing? Why have you chosen me this night? Why is it me you have chosen to terrify? Tolu managed to voice out, his voice barely a whisper. The creature grinned widely, lips stretching impossibly far. It leaned in closer, its breath cold against his skin, eyes gleam with menace. Because you looked, it whispered, a sing-songy lilt in its voice, dripping with crude light. And once you see me, you could never unsee me, and I never leave. With one last echoing laughter, the creature's figure melted into the shadows, leaving Tolu alone, trembling in the dark. But even in the silence, he could hear it, soft, distinct, yet unmistakable. The laughter, it would follow him. It would follow him everywhere. He was sure of it.